All right, let's get into it. So, have you ever been in a situation where there is an unknown smell and you are searching for it like crazy and you're making up excuses and you're questioning things and you're going like crazy looking for this smell?
Uh, I think anyone can attest to this if you're a parent. This has had to have happened to you more than one time.
I I will not call out the child to whom this story belongs to, but there was a time where I found a petrified pickle under one of their beds. And I thought it was one of those like squishy toys. Like I was like, picked it up, I'm squishing it, and I'm like, and I can smell the dill. And I was just like, wow, parenting is next level. We weren't prepared for this. But no, like, and it's probably because I have a true crime podcast and I also have a cat that patrols my property and leaves us many, many gifts,
Mhm.
I will say. But there's times where like I'll step out the front door and I'm like, that's decomp. Where is it? What am I
Uh,
looking for here? So yeah, I think we can all relate to that. And that a smell plays in very deeply into today's story. So while I was visiting the Cleveland area, my in-laws started telling me about local cases they knew about. And the whole reason that you and I have this podcast is because we love being told these stories.
love.
Remember before the podcast was a thing and I would just call you and be like, sit down. I just read a case and it's going to blow your socks off. And guys, like that's why we started this podcast, because we would just be on the phone for 45 minutes going through all the details that we had about
Love
this
the
case.
details.
Yeah. So when they mentioned this guy and I started diving in, I could not believe it. Also, side note, I desperately wanted to go into this neighborhood and take a video because I was like, oh my God, when I cover this case, how great will it be?
Pack your shit. We're going on a roadie.
I was like we're all sitting outside and I'm like, oh my God, like this isn't very far from where we are right now. Like, will you guys take me down there? I want to do a video for the podcast. And literally they all laughed at me. And they were like, so you aren't going down there. Sorry, girly. Like, that's not happening because apparently it's not the safest of places. And I argued with them. I was like, it's fine. Like, I'll just stay in the car. And one of Matt's brothers was like, you're not safe in the car. Like, I don't know how to get this across
You're
to
like,
you.
what do you mean? We're just such innocent Canadians. What do you
I
mean?
know. I was just like, because really, yes, we have areas in Ottawa and areas in Toronto that are unsafe. But from the stories they were telling me, I don't know if we've ever experienced this level of unsafe.
No.
No. Crime rates in Cleveland, Ohio are not great. And when I say not great, I mean like really bad. In Cleveland, you have a 1 in 17 chance of becoming a victim of a crime. And the homicide rate is 34 per 100,000 people.
That's wild.
Yes.
What's going on
I
there?
know. I know. It's just not the safest place. So now that we have that background, let's get into the story. Time, industry, and the city itself seem to have forgotten about Imperial Avenue in East Cleveland. The neighborhood was run down and dangerous to the average person. But for some, Imperial Avenue was home, and they made the best of it that they could. Anthony Edward Sowell was born on August 19th, 1959, in East Cleveland, Ohio. He grew up in a house filled with pain and violence. He was one of 7 children being raised by a single mother, but the house was even more crowded than that. After the death of his sister, Sowell's mother took in her 7 children as well. So there were 14 kids
Whew.
in this home. And what happened behind those closed doors set the tone for everything that followed. Sowell's mother was vicious. Like, I can only describe it as vicious. According to later reports, she regularly beat her children with electrical cords.
Like, why bother taking all these kids in if you're
I
just
know,
going to
like,
be a
what,
monster? Get the fuck out of here.
honestly. And it wasn't just beatings, there were far deeper wounds. One of Sowell's nieces later testified that Sowell raped her daily from the time she was 10 years old. And that wasn't the only allegation. Several of the children in that house grew up with the scars of sexual abuse, neglect, and trauma. So, not great. Not a good upbringing. 14 children in a home. Listen, 14 children in any home,
That's a
unless you
classroom,
are loaded.
you
That's a
know?
that's a classroom. Like
That's not
what are
even
we doing?
against the legal amount of adult to child ratio in a daycare.
Yeah, and
Hello?
I sometimes TikToks come across my feed where they have like 14, 15 kids, but this is not what I'm talking about here.
No.
Like this, they were in a two-bedroom home with
Mhm.
14 children and adults. It was not good. But Sowell seemed to kind of come out of that and come out on top initially. When he was 19, he joined the Marine Corps. And for a moment, that seemed like his way out of the life he had
Side
grown up
note,
in.
they always join the military. Do you know how many
I know.
stories we have where you're like, they seem to really pull it together joining the military. Now, I'm not saying anything about service
Uh-huh.
members because my dad, my
Yes.
grandfather,
Yes.
everybody that I know,
Yeah.
but it's a very interesting thing.
Mhm, mhm. And we see it so
I
often.
often wonder, is it because like it gives them an opportunity to start fresh in a new place, with
Maybe.
opportunities they wouldn't have, and to be a little transient so they can be devious?
Maybe. Maybe. But he served honorably. He earned medals and commendations. He was trained as an electrician, stationed in California, Japan, and North Carolina. So, like, he had a really good career. But the discipline of the military didn't change what was lying underneath. Because remember, this was a child who
Yeah.
had raped other children. Like, it was not good.
Yeah, you don't just not become a monster.
No, exactly. In 89, 4 years after leaving the service, he attacked a pregnant woman in his Cleveland home. And before he could be charged for that, he attacked and raped another pregnant woman.
Pregnant women.
Yeah, I know. He tied her up, raped her, and tried to kill her. She survived, and he was arrested, convicted, and sentenced to 15 years in prison. So it's 89, he goes away. He
All
comes
right.
out and he's released in 2005. So he served his full sentence.
Okay.
And here's this recurring theme that we see all the time and we get so upset about. When Sowell got out, there was no public outcry, no registry warning, the neighborhood, no signs posted. He was a registered sex offender, but that was just a piece of paper.
Yeah.
Just a man with a history of sexual violence, quietly moving back into the community. He moved right into his stepmom's home at 12205 Imperial Avenue.
You know what
He,
I've like thought about?
tell me.
What if we fucking tattooed a specific like sex offender on their forehead before the release so they
You know what?
don't not
I'm
upset
for
about it?
this.
Yeah.
I'm for this. Like, if you have done that in your past, literally every single person who comes into contact with you should know,
Yep.
has the right to know.
Danger.
Yeah. And he never missed a check in with the sheriff's office. He dutifully showed up every 90 days, did his check in, went in, hey guys, here I am. Like,
It's very weird.
did all the things he was supposed to do. Anthony is quiet, but would have barbecues and say hi to his neighbors when he passed them on the street in his Mount Pleasant neighborhood. Now, I really want you to understand this neighborhood because Mount Pleasant wasn't pleasant at all. There were major drug problems, irregular reports of violence, and although the families in the neighborhood were trying to make the best of their living situations, the area was plagued by poverty. On Imperial Avenue, there was an added ick. There was a sausage place that gave off a terrible smell. Maybe it was the grease traps or like a collection of sausage waste, which I can't imagine smells very good, but it left this sour, pungent odor in the air. So
Delicious.
you would like turn down the street and immediately you knew you were on Imperial and everyone was just like, they make good sausages, but boy, does it smell bad.
Be
To the
curious to
point,
know how many people are actually buying sausages when you smell that all the time.
it was like a popular place. Like
Mm.
they had, and their the sign for this place, I'm going to share it on social media. Like the first thing it says is head cheese, which immediately I'm out.
I like head cheese.
I'm not going in.
Yeah.
It's not for me. But And so, like, there were constant calls from the community about this smell because bylaw would show up, do like walk around, be like, I don't know, you seem to be doing everything you're supposed to be doing, to the point where it's called raised sausages. They actually replaced their whole sewer system because they were like, maybe it's
Yeah.
years and years and years of waste going through the
Yep.
pipes.
Fair.
So they replaced the whole thing and the smell didn't really get better. So they basically were just like, sorry, it's
Live with it.
sausage. I don't know. All right, it's 2007 and Anthony's parents who he had been living with had passed away. Anthony began drinking a lot, not like a drink a night. He was drinking the moment he woke up in the morning till sundown. Sometimes he didn't sleep. He drank all day and saw an opportunity in his rundown neighborhood to entice women struggling with substance abuse.
Of course.
So, from what Anthony has told us, he would get drunk and he would get horny. And then he'd be sitting in this house by himself. He wasn't really working at this time. And right outside his door were women who were struggling, who had drug addictions, who had alcohol addictions, who were down on their luck. They were sex workers. So he didn't have to go far to find what he wanted. He would walk the streets and invite women in with the promise of booze and drugs, sometimes as a friend, and use that very loosely, and sometimes as a John. His house was a party house. He would regularly let drug addicts and drunks crash, and the house was nasty. I cannot stress enough how gross this house was. This was not like, oh, let me get you some linens for the couch. It was gross.
It's like a trap house, right? It's
Yeah,
gross.
exactly, exactly. So throughout the years, women start going missing from the neighborhood. But here's the thing. Police chalked it up to street life and didn't take it seriously. And Anthony knew this. He wasn't going after women who had, high profile jobs, who had,
Families even,
families,
just
who
to be
had
like,
all of
"Where's
this.
my person?" Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. In 2007, 38-year-old mom of 7, Crystal Dozier, disappears. Now, her family was frantic. They put up flyers, they called all the hospitals, they searched and searched and searched for her, and they never stopped. No one saw her, no one reported anything because even if someone in the Mount Pleasant area had seen something, they would have never said anything. This is not the type of community where
No.
you're calling the police and saying, "Oh, hey, by the way, I saw Crystal on this corner." You just didn't.
This is also the type of community that probably they don't trust the police
Well,
because
exactly.
there's that stigma of like,
Yeah.
you're not gonna tell, you're gonna keep your mouth shut. And police, as much as like I admire police, they do have a history of being judgmental. And, I could only imagine being called to the same neighborhood over and over and over
Mhm.
again. Eventually, you're gonna be like, holy fuck balls, this is
Yeah.
getting exhausting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And the sad truth was Crystal was never missing. Crystal was dead.
Mhm.
Anthony had lured her into the house with the promise of drugs and booze and raped her and strangled her to death. He quickly buried her in the backyard of his house and carried on. This was Anthony's first kill. Tashana Culver was 33, mom of 6, and had tried to get clean over and over again. And like my heart always breaks for these women because from what everybody said, Tashana was really trying. She had her cosmetology license, but the drugs had taken hold of her and wouldn't let go. She was funny, quick to talk to strangers, and I thought this was so cute because we constantly hear, she's the type of person that could light up a whole room. But friends and family said she was the kind of person who could light up a bus stop. And I love that. I thought
I
that was
love
so
that
sweet.
too.
Yeah. Her family didn't report her missing initially because Tashana had the habit of disappearing. So she would go missing, for days, for weeks, sometimes for months. And her
Yeah.
family just knew, like, shit, like she's on a bender. She's going to come back. But unfortunately, Tashana was dead within 2 hours of entering 12205 Imperial Avenue. And this time, Anthony did not bury her. He just stored her in his crawl space.
What?
Yeah.
It's very Dahmer of you.
Also,
Ew.
like, listen, How dirty. Like, this whole thing is awful. But if we're playing in the mind of, a serial killer, which we are right now, stop being so lazy. What are you
Yeah.
doing in your crawl space?
Fuck out of here.
Disgusting. LaShonda Long, 25, was the youngest of Anthony's victims. Her mom had been a crack addict and her dad was an alcoholic. So, like, right out the gate,
Yeah.
she didn't,
She didn't have a great chance to be.
no, no, no. She had her first baby at 14
Oh,
years old.
I.
Yeah. And by 17, she had 3 children.
Whew. She was a busy gal.
The state took her kids, obviously.
Yeah.
And LaShonda was actually one of the only victims who seems to have been dismembered by Anthony. Because when we get to the part where police find all of this disaster, LaShonda's head was found wrapped in a paper bag and in a bucket sitting in Anthony's basement.
Why?
I know.
The fuck is going on with these people? Like, I
I know.
don't understand. If you were just, you threw one in a crawl space, you braid, like, there's no, like, rhyme or reason to this for me. And I'm like, could
Yeah.
you imagine being in that brain for an hour?
No, I don't want to.
No.
Ever. Michelle Mason, 45 years old. She was finally getting the life she wanted after spending years in drug addiction. She had been clean for about a year. Her family never stopped pressing for answers, and records show police did investigate when she went missing, but they didn't find anything. Anya Carmichael, 53 years old. She was a drug addict, but she hadn't always been that way. She was the mom that would chase drug dealers away from her home and her kids. So she was always super protective of her children living in these neighborhoods
This
where,
intrigues
people,
me.
I know people would come around and she would be like, get off my property, get out of my house. You're not going to bring drugs up in here with my kids. But she eventually, something happened and she fell prey to it
How?
way later in life.
It's always the ones, and you see it actually
Mhm.
more now than ever before.
Yeah,
And because, I'll talk to all the homeless people down in my hood
I know you do. I know you do.
because I'm like, how did you get here? And a lot of them had a full life, families, jobs, career. And then they go into like their 30s and 40s and shit just falls apart. And I'm like,
I know. And it seems like that's what happened here. Like she was such a present mom. She was so against drugs all while her children were growing up. And then something happened.
poor woman.
I know. She went looking for a hit in November of 2000 and she found it at Anthony's house. Anthony later admitted that he had strangled her with an extension cord, which is awful. But I found it interesting because remember, his mother used to beat them with
him.
cords.
Yeah.
So
So
it's
obviously you do see
okay.
like the trauma of childhood abuse is
Yes.
surfacing here.
Yeah.
He's a fucking monster. But at the
Yes.
end of the day, this is the nature versus nurture thing that we talk about all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did she create a fucking monster, or was he
Yeah.
born a fucking monster?
I know.
Interesting. Okay.
I'm going to mention the next 3 women. We don't know a lot about them, which
Okay.
breaks my heart. But I wanted to make sure that they were included in this. Kim Yvette Smith was 44. Talisha Fortson was 33. Janice Webb, 48.
It's interesting because his victims seem maybe like, saw a couple.
Mhm.
They all seem to be older women.
They are. So LaShonda was 25. She was by far his youngest.
Yeah.
The rest of them are like late 30s, 40s. And then we have Tanya, who was 53.
It really does make you think mommy issues.
Yeah. I mean, he was about their age, like it was his age group, but still.
Doesn't matter if somebody reminds you of like,
yeah.
And he's not, because like really he spent 18 years in prison. He grew up in an abusive household. His brain didn't develop like a normal adult.
Yeah, I know.
It's fucked up.
That's it. Imelda Amy Hunter was 47. She was a good woman. She was a beautician and she took so much pride in like making women feel good and look good. Her story was actually heartbreaking. She was on the right path. Like She wasn't into drugs, wasn't into substance abuse. She had a child and lost it. It died in infancy, and she turned to heroin to cope.
These poor
Nancy
people.
Cobbs, I know. Nancy Cobbs was 45, went missing in April 2009. Her family never stopped looking. They looked, they searched, they called the police, all this stuff. And the thing is, the police, like families would call, but officers essentially would tell their loved ones, like they'll come home, they're just on a bender because they were
Yeah.
all on a bender all the
Yeah.
time.
You know what I would just like to point out, because
Mm,
I feel like you and I never judge. And I'm
mhm.
very proud of us for that, because we really don't, like, we both share the same common view that
Yeah.
I don't care if you're, a drug addict or a church going fucking saint.
No, no.
They're all the same. And the thing that I just want to say before people judge these victims for the lifestyle they chose is, you don't judge somebody who drinks 2 bottles of wine a night.
No.
And really, something that I want to point out is that alcoholism is much more dangerous
Mhm.
than
Yes.
drug use,
Yeah.
in the sense of, once your body becomes dependent on alcohol and you stop drinking, you will die.
Yeah. 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 I know. I
So
know.
before anyone starts pointing fingers just because it's maybe a shadier underworld than a fancy wine glass in a fancy club,
Yeah.
addiction's addiction.
And it doesn't, and the thing that we will say over and over and over and over again, no one deserves this.
I don't
No,
care if you're a
no innocent,
prostitute.
no,
No,
and I say no one, and we talk all the time about how like these monsters, get death row and stuff. This is not what I'm talking about.
no.
I'm talking about the average person who's just trying to live their life, just trying to get through their trauma, trying to get through whatever. They don't deserve, no one deserves this. Okay, last but certainly not least, Diane Turner, 48. She was a mother of six. Mother of
These women
six.
all had quite a bit of kids, eh?
They had lots of kids, lots of children. Yeah. These women were all Black.
Okay.
Many were moms.
Is this a
Most were navigating
prominently
addiction.
Black neighborhood?
It was. It
Okay.
was when this was happening. I don't know if that has changed over the
And
years.
is he Black?
Yes,
Okay.
he is. In December 2008, a woman named Gladys Wade frantically flags down a police car. She has scratches on her neck and a fairly substantial gash in her thumb. She is hysterical. She says, Anthony asked me if I want to come grab a drink with him. I said no, and he punched me in the face and knocked me unconscious.
So
She
he's
says,
escalating.
yeah, well, she says he dragged me into his house and I woke up. He was strangling me and trying to rape me.
Can you fucking imagine?
Yeah. So police show up to Anthony's house because they're like, sir, what the hell? And I want you to picture this for a moment. Police pull up to 12205 Imperial Avenue. It's a bad part of the city. They knock on Anthony's door and he struggles to open it as he kicks rotting garbage aside that's on the floor. Police are immediately accosted by the smell. He says, yeah, come in, come in. They step inside to have a chat. And I am so affected by smells.
She is
I would want
so
out of there.
affected.
My God, guys, I would want out of there so fast. And that's kind of what it sounds like the police were feeling too. Because Anthony says, that's not what happened. She punched me first. And he does have scratches on his face.
Yeah, defensive wounds, you
I
fucking
know.
idiot.
And the police are so eager to get out of this disgusting house that they're like, okay, sounds good. Please don't put your hands on her. Maybe take some time from her. They mark it down as a domestic dispute and carry on.
Here's the thing. Police do better. If it was a fucking domestic dispute,
Mhm.
and let's be fair, a domestic dispute is two people that live together.
Or like it can be a boyfriend and girlfriend.
Boyfriend, girlfriend, some kind of relationship, even a friendship. They don't know each other.
But the thing is,
Ugh,
no one took these women seriously
no.
because of where they lived. Because, like, Gladys is a good woman, but she probably looked crazy.
My question, though, for you, just because
Mhm.
I'm curious, So these communities tend to be tight-knit, everyone knows everyone.
Mhm.
Are they not making note of, like, there are multiple missing women? Like, how did they not start to be a little bit, I
Here's the
guess they're so
thing,
fucked up on drugs, they're just like,
and
"Whatever."
there were women missing constantly from
Yeah,
Cleveland,
fair.
all over Cleveland. Like, if you look at those statistics, like, they're staggering.
Yeah.
They're staggering. So, sure, there were women going missing. None of them were, like, super close, and you never ask questions. So the same as the families are being told, "Oh, they're probably on a bender," you would imagine that the friends, any friends that you had in the community, if you just disappeared, they would probably assume she cleaned up and she went home,
Yeah. Yeah,
and now we're not
fair.
seeing her anymore.
Yeah.
So it was like the worst of both worlds type thing where no one was looking for them because this was their MO. This was the norm for them. They came, they went. They came, they went. They stayed, they went. You know?
It's wild.
I know. Okay, it's now October 2009, and a man calls 911 and he is hysterical. He has just seen a woman launch herself out of the second story window of Anthony's house,
I'd do the same. I
which
would
in and of
Superman the
itself,
fuck out of that window.
and she did. She this
Wow.
this guy, I've heard the 911 call, and this guy is like, "You gotta send someone out here right now. She's laying on the ground.
Was
She's
she
in and out of
alive still?
consciousness." She was. She was very hurt, but she was alive. So she's taken to the hospital and she recovers, but she isn't talking. So of course, like the hospital staff and police are like, "What happened?" She's like, "I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know." But a week later, she finally calls police and tells them everything.
I
And it
wonder,
is
why was she too afraid to say what happened to her? Like, what was the reason,
yes,
or did
and
she
you're
not
gonna hear
remember?
why.
Okay.
So she goes into detail, and it's the same story we have seen over and over again here. She says, "Promised me drugs, brought me to the house, raped me, attempted murder, but this was different because this time," because police are like, "Why did you launch yourself out the window?" And she says, "There's a rotting woman on the floor in his hallway."
He just left her in the hallway? Like,
That's
he's
right.
just allowing these bodies to just decompose all over his house?
That's right. So now police are catapulted into action because they're like, "I'm sorry, what did you just say?
Oh,
Did you just say you saw a body?" She's like, "Yeah, it's rotting into the floor." So they obtain an arrest warrant and a search warrant, and they show up to Anthony's house, sirens ablazing.
yeah.
They knock, but he's not there. They enter the home. Now, I want you to picture the filthiest house you have ever seen, and I know exactly what house is going to come to your mind because we were there together. For those of you that don't know, Ashley and I had a cleaning company
20 years ago, almost?
20 years ago. And we walked into some things. But now take that and times it by 8.
No.
Officers say there was trash everywhere, mold, rotting food, human excrement, and within moments of making entry. So they come into this house, they find not one, but 2 rotting corpses just out in the open.
And he's living in there,
He's living in there.
unfazed.
People are coming in there constantly doing drugs, drinking, crashing.
And they're not saying, like,
There's bodies.
and are they noticing like, what the
There's
fuck,
bodies and
Chantel?
bodies and bodies and bodies. I know. I know. I was like, "What?"
I don't give a
So,
fuck if you're doing the Fenty fold or whatever you're doing. Um,
bodies?
Bodies? Hello?
I can't, and listen, I have never done hard drugs in my life.
Mm-mm.
I haven't. I can't imagine a drug strong enough, and, like, maybe this is just me being, unaware, where I would walk in somewhere and see rotting corpses, not 1. They found 2 within minutes of entering the house.
I wonder,
Seeing
like,
rotting corpses and being like, "That's fine."
I don't know that you would be like, that's fine, but I wonder if you would trust your own brain and what you're seeing. You know what
You
I
know what?
mean?
That's fair.
You'd be like,
Where you're
huh,
just
I'm on
like,
a trip.
"Boy,
Well, this is a weird place to
God,
be. Although, like, I
God."
did take LSD
Mhm.
when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
I ironically enough came across Mike's family dog, who
Okay.
in the moment, I thought was a deer, and I was petting it, and I thought I was like Snow White. So, I mean, you know what? Maybe I can't really say anything right now, but, like, that was as far as I
But
ever went.
still, it's shocking to me. I'm like,
Yeah.
people were in and out of this house all the time. Well, this woman clearly was not high enough because she threw herself out the window when she saw the body.
Same, girl.
Yeah, right? Of course you did. So, over the course of 1 week, investigators discover and unearth 5 bodies buried or just left rotting in and around Anthony Sowell's house.
And
On
is it
Halloween,
being masked, sorry, by the sausage plant?
it was never the sausage plant.
Oh, so this
It
whole time
was
it was
always
fucking
Anthony's
his.
house.
Here I'm like, "Oh, the sausage plant covered up the smell." My god,
No,
Chantella.
I know. It was always Anthony's house.
This company
Always.
put in new sewers and everything.
They did so much because bylaw was coming all the time being like, guys, you got to get the smell under control. And they're like, we're doing everything we can. It was never the sausage plant.
Snap. Okay.
I
Thank you for
know.
clarifying this.
Hmm. Yeah.
Continue, please.
Yeah. And just on a side note, Ray's Sausage has made a full recovery from all of this
You know what? Next
bullshit.
time I go to America, I will get me some Ray's sausage. I'm sorry, Ray.
My family won't let you down there, but maybe we can order. Maybe we can order. So on Halloween 2009, police spot Anthony walking about a block away from his home because so this had happened a few days prior to Halloween,
And he
but they
booked
didn't know where
it.
Anthony was. Yeah. So they find him Halloween day. They see him walking about a block away from his home, arrest him, charge him with 5 counts of murder. But there were more. Over the following days and weeks, they uncover a total of 11 women decomposing and rotting in this man's home.
Ugh.
And
Like,
Anthony didn't fight it. Like he
well,
was
there was
just
no way he could, right?
once they
He's like,
got him,
well,
he
the
was
jig
just
is
like,
up.
"Yeah, I did it." And when they asked like, "Anthony, how many women are there?" He was like, "I honestly have no idea."
Wow.
Yes. So, as usual, if there's a shred of hope in any story that we tell, I'm going to talk about it. In this horrifying tale, there were girls who got away, survivors. One woman, Vanessa Gay, has talked publicly about how she survives. She says she went to his house, realized too late she was in danger, and endured a night that doesn't fit into words. At dawn, she ran. So, like, he was asleep and she was like, I am booking it. When she reported what happened, she didn't feel like they believed her, which
Hmm.
kills me all the time
Yeah.
because how heartbreaking to go through that kind of a traumatic evening and then to go because it takes so much strength to go to the police and be like, "Hey, this happened to me last night." And then for them to be like, "Well,
I
all
feel
right."
like this is such a common theme, especially in our society right now. And, it takes so much strength for any victim of any
Yeah.
crime, of anything to come forward. And when you're not believed, this is how victims are made because the next time something happens, they don't come forth. So these
Yeah.
monsters are getting away with all
Mhm.
this fucking abuse and then they
Yeah.
escalate. But people stop
Exactly.
reporting it because they're not being taken seriously. And it's almost humiliating.
I know. I
It's
know.
sad. Fuck them.
So in June 2011, the trial begins. Prosecutors lay out a case that spans years and floors. A basement, a stairwell, a backyard, a hallway. Reconstructed from bone fibers and the voices of the women who lived. Jurors did hear from survivors, and all of them said there was this crazy switch. So they would be having a pleasant conversation, they'd be having a good time to he would just snap. And it was
Mhm.
just violence and almost death. In August, the jury recommends death. So he is charged for 11 murders and the judge agrees. The
Yeah.
headlines call him the Cleveland Strangler.
Mhm.
Appeals followed, as they always do. Lawyers argued about pre-trial publicity, which fuck you,
Right?
but whether closing a hearing to cameras violated his rights, which again, fuck you. This guy doesn't
Right.
have any rights left.
No.
He killed 11 women and left them in his home. The Ohio Supreme Court upheld his convictions and sentence. Sowell remained on death row, and in 2021, he died in prison of a terminal illness.
Fuck
So he never
sakes.
I know, it always bothers me. I'm like,
I hope at least, like,
I hope he suffered.
yeah. Like,
I really do.
I hope it was a bad one.
Yeah,
At least he
I
didn't
know.
die in his sleep. I mean, we can thank fuck for
I know, I
that.
hate hearing that.
When that happens, boils my blood. I know.
The house on Imperial was demolished in 2011, and years later, the city and community broke ground on a memorial garden.
Mm,
It's
mhm.
beautiful. You can look up
I wish I
pictures.
could
I
go
will
there.
include them in social media. I know. That's all I wanted to do. I'm like, I just want to go to the Garden of 11 Angels. And
Mhm.
my family was like, not a chance in hell.
But it's gonna be the Garden of 12.
Yeah, they're like, you're not going to the Garden of 12. God. So that is the horrific story of Anthony Sowell.
Yeah,
And it's
gross.
just like I am so impressed and wanted to honor the victims, obviously, and their families. I can't imagine. I can't imagine.
The thing is, like, we have to really look at this in a whole other light, though. Like,
Mhm.
you lived with rotting corpses. Like,
Lived with them.
your screws are so fucking loose, they don't even exist anymore because,
No,
like,
they're not there.
are you putting that like, how are you eating in there, sleeping in there? Like, it's just so demented.
It's so disgusting. Well, when
Mhm.
I was like, "Oh, he died of a terminal illness," I'm like, "No shit."
Yeah.
That's what happens when you live with rotting corpses, you
Oh,
psychopath.
it's bad news. Bad
I
news.
know. So that is that. Again, like I just reading about the because there were many survivors. I just mentioned Vanessa, but there were tons who helped convict him, who were there to be like, "Nah, listen, this is what happened to
Yeah,
me."
yeah.
And your strength is astounding. And I hope that you've all gone on to heal from your trauma
Mhm.
and to lead happy lives, happy, healthy lives. So that's my story.
Well, I actually thoroughly enjoyed your story because those
Oh, thank you.
women need to be remembered.
Yeah,
And if
right.
you guys enjoyed this story, please share, like, follow. We have a survey on our website.
Hmm.
All these things are so helpful for us. You have no idea. It just shows us, who's listening, who wants to keep hearing more. It helps us
Yeah.
grow.
Yeah. And on that note, I think I'm going to go make some breakfast sausages.
You're disgusting.
Like, what is wrong with me?
Oh no.
This is why I'm a true crime
You're
podcaster
like,
because I'm like,
this
I'm
made
kind
me
of hungry.
hungry.
But, anyways, dark humor aside, thank you so much for listening. We appreciate every single one of you, and we love you, and we will see you all on Friday.
Bye.
Bye.